Starting.
Hey, this is Erica from Mini Minions. So a lot of people sometimes have problems bottle feeding their babies due to one reason or another. They need to bottle feed, and sometimes getting them attached to a bottle is rather difficult, especially if they've already had mom's teats. They're not trained to a bottle, so I'm going to go over a few tricks and tips on how to do that. So this little girl, she was born last night, so she's fairly young. And what's great about them is they've got what is called a rooting reflex. So if I put my hand on top of her head, she's seeking around. And see how she's rooting around? We can make use of that reflex and stick the bottle underneath, and sometimes they get it. And boom, there we go. So that is one way to try to help them get used to a bottle, is making use of that rooting reflex. Sometimes if they don't have that rooting reflex, you do need to just open up their mouth and stick the bottle in. Problem with that is, in that struggling, they can aspirate some of that milk or have it go down the wrong tube into their lungs, and that's not a good thing. So you need to be very careful with that. The other problem with that is it's called an oppositional reflex. So if you push, they push back. So by holding their head, they get rather frustrated with that. So making advantage of the rooting reflex is a lot nicer for the kids, safer, and less traumatic for everybody involved. So head on top of the head, she's rooting around, and you stick the bottle right underneath where she can get it. And it sometimes takes a little practice for her to get it. Another thing that I'll do is, if you have the bottle this way, you can take your other hand and scratch their rear end, so it's like mom's licking their rear end as well, so it feels very much like mom. It takes some practice. They're learning, you're learning. Most of all, patience. Come on. Bingo. There we go. Few rounds of that, a hungry baby, they catch on pretty quick. Another key note is have the milk body temperature. So goat temperature is between 100 and 101. So it's a little warmer than us. So having milk at body temperature. Also, I use a human baby bottle. You might need to open the nipple tip a little bit with a sharp knife, just so that it will flow better and faster. Not too big, because otherwise you'll drown the baby goat and they flood them. Boom. So rooting reflex, it's a good thing.